thanks to a very special member of the community who requested to remain anonymous, we have some very exciting news. This community member painted and donated a lance for us to give away as a random prize for our subscribers. Let me tell you, these mechs are even more beautiful in hand than they are in the pictures. They're painted in a Free Worlds League purple. This league compliant lance includes a Phoenix Hawk, a Rifleman, a Warhammer, and an Atlas. Any new or current subscriber to the channel can comment on any of these videos, and I mean any of them, with this spot in it to be entered in the draw. Now, because we are a growing little community with aspirations of grandeur, we will send these mechs in the mail to the winner in Western Canada at no cost. If someone in Eastern Canada or out of the country wins the draw, we will be more than happy to cover the first 20 Canadian dollars for shipping costs, but ask that the winner cover the rest of the shipping. We will work with the winner to get a quote for shipping, and then we can discuss if you would like to keep this beautiful lance or pass it on to someone else. When entering the draw, please keep this in mind. Now, to get entered, there's not much that you have to do. All you need to do is like our video and comment below. We will do the draw when we hit 150 subscribers. Each video that you like and comment will get you an entry in to get this amazing lance done by one of our local members. Thank you all very much, and we look forward to that next major milestone. Bye.
Welcome back, everybody, to the final episode of Rules Corner, at least for this season. We will be going over the faction skills today. It's a shorter section, so it won't be too long, and at that point, hopefully you guys have gotten all of the rules that we want to hand out, all of the skills, and everything that you're going to need to be able to play in League.
Alright everybody, as mentioned, we're doing the faction skills. There are 10 factions in the League this season. There were 10 factions last season. There may be more factions next season. In fact, I know there's going to be at least 2 new ones. But for this season, let's start off with the specific skills associated with each one. Each faction in the Inner Sphere has its quirks, custom, or technological achievements. These skills represent the ability a MechWarrior may pick up after spending time with a certain weapon system, government-sponsored upgrade for a weapon, or technical adjustment they have perfected. These skills are designed for each faction specifically and cannot be purchased by a warrior who hails from another faction, with one exception. Hailing from the Draconis Combine, we have the Bushido skill. This samurai of the dragon holds himself above and aloof from the common MechWarrior and prefers his combat one-on-one. Before the first turn of the match, the samurai declares a duel against a single opponent. The samurai will gain a 1-point bonus to all attacks as long as they do not make any attacks against other opponents, unless someone other than your dueling target fires on the samurai. If anyone other than the specified target attacks the samurai will immediately gain a -2 to hit the dueling target, or may retaliate against the honorless mech at normal to hit odds without breaking the original duel and keeping the -1. Losing line of sight or not firing on the target does not end the duel. This skill bonus is lost when the original target dies and is considered to be an effective gunnery skill.
Bushido is the Draconis Combined skill, and it's basically a cheaper version of Personal Vendetta. You get a -1 to hit your specified target, and you get to keep that -1 as long as you do not fire at any other units. Meaning you still get the -1 to shoot at the primary duelist, but you get no bonus to shoot at anyone else. Now, if anyone shoots at you, it goes to a -2 to attack your dueling partner, or you get to shoot at the other mechs without losing that -1 to hit your primary target. Overall, good skill, limited by the fact that once your dueling opponent is dead, the skill's gone, but it's a really cheap gunnery skill, so it's not bad to have.
Now, there's one other thing that needs pointing out on this skill. It's a 1-point bonus to all attacks, which means while it counts as a gunnery skill, it also impacts physical attack skills as well. Next, we move on to the Free Worlds League and Crystal Alignment. Crystal Alignment. This pilot is a self-taught technical wizard who has applied their vast knowledge to the weapon systems on their mech. Working in the ER laser focusing crystals has resulted in a more refined beam, able to travel greater distances. Treat the ER lasers as having the clan range brackets instead. All other aspects of the weapon do not change at all. This weapon does not affect clan salvage and black market weapon systems, as clan tech is already maxed out for efficiency.
Oh, Free Worlds League gets a really nice laser jump. Getting that extra range makes those weapons that much more potent, and gets them closer to their clan counterparts without having to redesign your mech.
Moving on to Comstar's special abilities. Comstar has Familiar Territory. This skill allows the commander to roll twice during map choice and then choose which map they want to play on, following standard rules for determining map set, for having played on it previously if it's applicable, as well as if somebody has the bribery skill, that would also still be applicable after maps have been selected.
The Comstar does not get the most powerful ability in this, but it does have an effect on games. Being able to have two choices on which map you use, that's a pretty nice ability, especially when you're talking about a tech that usually allows them close range firepower. Having a long range map that they can manipulate the ranges at is a lot more beneficial than, let's say, a city fight or a forest fight.
Now, the other thing with this is that it can be an actually huge benefit. Normally, the guy who shows up first rolls and you guys choose the map. This one allows the Comstar player to choose which of the two maps. I think that's a huge win, don't you, Lee?
Yeah, it's a big benefit. Like I said, just being able to control the range on the battlefield makes a huge difference.
Next up, we have the St. Ives and their ability to be slippery. For a slippery MechWarrior, they have mastered the art of the maneuver. In the end phase of the turn, after everything else has been resolved, this pilot gains 1 point of movement. This must be ground-based movement, must be used immediately or it is lost. The following turn's movement modifiers would also not be impacted by this, as it is used before the turn ends and then the next turn starts. This point is not restricted to the movement mode the mech used during the movement phase of that turn, meaning that on this turn the mech could have jumped or ran or walked and still use slippery in the same turn.
So there's a skill quite similar to this in the mobility skills, but it requires a PSR roll to make sure that it's activated. This one happens automatically, and that one extra facing change would be great on an assault mech, being able to change facing and save its movement point for the next turn.
Alright, periphery powers. Their MechWarriors use the skill Merciless. This pilot is unremorseful when targeting debilitated enemy mechs. If, at the beginning of any weapon attack phase, this MechWarrior sees an enemy mech that is reduced from its normal maximum movement as a result of, say, a critical hit or damage taken, or potentially high gravity, the pilot will gain a -1 to hit modifier against that machine for the turn's weapon attack phase 2 hit rolls.
So another one that's actually is affected is heat. If you overheat your mech and slow down a little bit, your mobility has been affected and the skill kicks in. I used this skill extremely well in the last season of the original league, though at that time it was a -2 bonus. Now it's a -1 to make it a little bit more balanced. It's still really powerful, especially when you're fighting against opponents that have high heat mechs. It might even be a good idea to take some Inferno missiles to heat them up even further.
Alright, let's take a look at the Federated Suns and their love of autocannons. Leading the target. This pilot has spent considerable time training with the autocannon, learning their rhythm to improve performance. When attacking with any type of autocannon, the player can choose to fire it with a -1 to hit modifier if they are willing to sacrifice ammo and heat to lead the target. Just like tracer ammunition for machine guns, they would follow the shell stream until the weapon has connected. They waste 1 extra ammunition per weapon when doing this. When used with an ultra autocannon or a rotary autocannon, increase the jam potential up by 1. This skill can be used with steady hand, gunnery, or effective gunnery, or a targeting computer. Mechs may not target a location when leading, but they do get the bonus of the -1 to hit from the targeting computer as well. When using this skill, calculate your heat considered that if you had fired 1 additional shot per gun, which it also accounts for why you use the extra point of ammo.
So I see a lot of definite possibilities with this. For one mech that I could see it being used on would be the Victor, with its 15 shots of autocannon 20 ammo. Using that second shot of autocannon 20, yeah, it's a lot of heat, but connecting with one of the 2 shots is great. It doesn't give you an extra chance to hit, like more ammunition hitting, but it does increase your odds of hitting. I like it especially on those high ammunition units.
And from the flip side of the Federated Commonwealth, let's take a look at the Lyran Alliance. Recoil Control. This MechWarrior has trained with the big boys of Battletech, and as such has learned how to deal with the damage recoil and physical attacks from larger mechs better than most other warriors from the other factions. Anytime the pilot must make a pilot skill roll from damage taken, apply a 1-point bonus to the total dice roll, thereby negating the 20-point damage plus 1 penalty. As well, they also get a 1-point bonus keeping their mech upright when charged, kicked, missed kick, or DFA. Additionally, if they fired a heavy gauze rifle while not standing still, this 1-point piloting skill bonus would also apply.
It's quite simply a cheap piloting skill. When it comes right down to it, other than actually doing physical attacks, it gives you a bonus on everything else. You need to make a PSR for being kicked, or missing a kick, or being DFA'd, you get that -1. And if the big boys like Lyrans like to use that heavy gauze rifle, every time you walk or run or jump while firing a heavy gauze rifle, you have to make a PSR. Well, having that -1 makes it a lot easier when you're doing that.
I can definitely see this potentially being a skill on a mech where they want to be moving around to get that heavy gauze rifle in better range brackets. This will take us to the Capellan Confederation and their skill, which is called Stealthy Tiger. The Capellan MechWarrior has become a master of camouflage. A mech equipped with stealth armor can add a +1 to the mech's defensive modifier at long range, even if the stealth armor is not engaged. Pretty straightforward.
I have to say, the Capellan's stealth armor mixed with skills like camouflage or this Stealthy Tiger is going to make it very, very difficult for people to beat it. When you decide you don't want a mech to be hit, you put these skills on it, and it will be very hard to hit.
Coming near the end of the list, we have the Free Razzlehog Republic and Thunderstruck. After experiencing the Clanner's superior long-range missile technology, the Free Razzlehog Republic took to training themselves on how to counter the minimum range disadvantage. This mech may half the minimum range rounded up for any LRM weapon fired that turn. That means your standard 6 hex minimum range for an LRM becomes 3. If you have one of the other skills that modifies it, that would also be applicable.
So, one of the good things about this skill, you want to go LRM heavy, go ahead, and it kind of stops you from having to use your clan salvage to buy a clan LRM to be able to avoid the minimum range. It's going to be a big surprise for anybody that tries to charge in on your longbow, salamander, archer, catapult, crusader that has this setup, because all of a sudden the minimum's not there and they're getting hit at short range for large damage.
Yeah, the main disadvantage for those LRM boats is usually being unable to defend themselves at point blank range. This basically offsets that.
Absolutely, and it's going to be a very good skill.
This is going to take us to the mercenaries. Those wily mercenaries, they happen to be veterans. Their skill is called Wily Veteran, if you haven't figured that out yet. The mercenary pilot has a checkered past. They come from one of the other factions at some point in history, but have chosen the mercenary life now. To reflect this, A wily veteran can select any other faction's specific faction skill. You may only have a single wily veteran in your lance.
This skill actually has a lot of advantages. For one thing, it opens up the other 9 skills to you. Stealthy Tiger, Lead the Target. There's a ton of them. All of them have a good benefit, and being able to add that to your lance seems like a good idea to me, especially when the fact that, unlike the other ones, you get to choose from all 9.
I'd have to agree, except for Stealthy Tiger, because it's going to be super hard to try and find a mech with stealth armor on it if you're not playing Capellans or pirates with their ability to steal it.
Well, there you have it, folks. There is all of the skills for the Calgary Battletech League for the 2022-2023 season. It was a lot of fun providing this to you guys, a lot of learnings for me. Even though I helped develop a lot of these skills, reading them out loud actually had us do a lot of editing to try to make them a little bit cleaner. As Brett can tell you, it is quite a bit of a challenge to read a skill out loud versus then reading it in your head.